I'm using doing US Patriotic Rose. But if you had just red and white mesh, you could do a Canadian rose just the same. Just use red and white. This is a fabric mesh. Hi Margaret, nice to see you too. Hi Charlotte, hi Barbara. This is it's called a thin stripe, meaning when they say thin stripe, it's not the stripe that's in the fabric that's in the stripe. It's the actual blue, white, and red stripes in it. You'll see other stripe mesh, they'll be a little thicker. So for instance, the blue, for a thicker or a thick stripe fabric mesh, the blue would take the blue and the white, so it would be this wide. And then the red would be this wide, the white would be this wide, and so on. This is a thin stripe. It's got the thinner pieces of red, white, and blue. I like this mesh better for flower making or rose or any flower making, because when you do make the petals, you do get to see all three colors, all red, white, and blue. So you'll notice I always purchase for my store. I don't, there's rarely that I purchase the thick stripe, because even if it's just two colors, like a black and white, you want to see the colors more, and you will with the thinner stripe. I feel like I'm just babbling here. Anyways, so I am going to be using a large board. This fabric mesh, I'm not sure, I don't have a ton of these. So if you are wanting to make a patriotic rose for Memorial Day or even July 4th, like I said, this is a fabric mesh. I'm going to see if I can get some more in quickly. I do have a shipment that's coming, I think the beginning of June. I'm going to see if I can get some more of this in, because this is great for patriotic flowers or wreaths. It's a great mesh. The number is in the description below, but it's also, I'll give it to you, it's RY8321D as in dog 1. RY8321D1. Now I have opened, I'm using 2 rolls. I opened a second roll because I wasn't sure how much I was going to use, and I hate, for the roses, I hate using the very inner pieces of the mesh roll because it's really curly. So that's what I'm sticking to. All right, so you guys are done looking. Oh, I'm also going to use, instead of leaves, when I was looking through the website and everything, I thought, oh my God, these are so cute. And it's a patriotic. And I know you US people, I have family that's American. You guys are cuckoo for coconuts for your patriotic stuff. Okay? I was over at Hobby Lobby on Saturday, and there's like rows, like aisles and aisles of patriotic. Like OMG. So I figured, you know what? I'm going to patriotic it right up. And I got these picks from the warehouse. I do have them in the description. They're HJ1072. And by the way, all the picks and wreath accents are on sale until tonight. 20% off. So if you like these star picks as well, grab some. They're like 20% off. Anyways, I'm going to use stars at the end instead of like green leaves, because nobody wants green leaves on a patriotic rose, right? So we're going to have some fun with these at the end. I'll show you how to put them in. Anyways, let's get started. I have cut my mesh. I cut 40 pieces for sure. I'm not sure if I'm going to use all 40. Now this roll is 10.5 inches long, or wide, sorry, 10.5 inches wide. So I did cut my 40 pieces at 10.5. That's why I had to open a second roll. Now you can cheat a little, and you can cut your mesh at 10 inches. Nobody will really be able to tell. But when I'm teaching, I'm going to teach you kind of properly. So I cut mine at 10.5, but Like I said, you can cut it at 10, wink, wink, and nobody will know. Alrighty. Good afternoon from Missouri. All right, so I am using the large board, okay? We are going to start on row 2 of the large board. Let me go down. You guys don't need to see my ugly mug. All right. So there's the top of the board, and that's going to be our hanging holes right here where it's divoted in. And the large board's numbered 1 to 5, and you'll see numbers on them. And we're going to use, for right now, we are going to use every other hole on row 2, okay? And this is the best way I can show you as a beginner to make a rose, okay? Now, if you are more advanced rose maker, you know that you're going to want to start in the middle, start in the center of your rose and work your way out. The reason I start always on the outside is because if I start in the center and start building my rose in the center, and as I move myself out, you are not going to be able to see what the heck I'm doing, okay? So I kind of do it a little bit backwards. Now, like I said, once you get good at making roses, you can start in the center and work your way out. And the reason you want to do that is we're going to start on the outside row at the beginning, and you tend to lean your arm against your mesh and everything as you're building your rose towards the center. And then these outside pieces get a little tattered and stuff. So if you can, start from the middle and work your way out. All right. Now I'm using fabric mesh. Fabric mesh is an amazing mesh for rose making. It's very forgiving and it keeps this roundness. And the roundness I'm talking about is that when you fold your mesh, see this puffiness that the fabric mesh gives? You want that to keep that puffiness. That makes your rose fuller and not so much looking like a cinnamon bun, okay? I always say, if you're going to use any kind of mesh, use anything but poly burlap for a rose. Poly burlap's really expensive for a rose. It doesn't make the best rose because poly burlap, unlike other flowers, we always want it to behave, right? Poly burlap behaves way too much for rose making because it doesn't, you can get this nice fullness on your petal, but once you put your arm down on it or start manipulating it, it gets completely flat. And by the time you're finished with the poly burlap rose, it's going to look like a cinnamon bun, okay? So I highly recommend for rose making fabric mesh, even deco mesh, like a normal deluxe foil or wide foil deco mesh. 21-inch mesh makes beautiful, huge full roses. And you can even use horizontal wide stripe. It's okay. You just have to be careful with the horizontal wide stripe that you don't keep putting your arm on it because it will flatten as you're making your rose. Okay, enough talking, Laurie. Let's get building this. I'm just gonna, okay, so you're gonna cut your pieces 10.5 or 10 by 10.5. So you want a square, okay? You want a square. Now, when you're using a striped mesh, we're gonna make sure we always use the rule, you know, when we make it into a diamond shape, that our factory edge is on the top left and bottom right. When you're using a striped mesh, you want to make sure that you follow that rule because I don't know if you noticed, but the top here is a blue stripe and the bottom is a red stripe. So if you just kind of go willy-nilly and make your petals, I don't know if you can see, but the stripes, they're not the same as if you would have done it with the rule of the factory edges, okay? So just keep to that rule, factory edge, when you turn it into a diamond shape, top and bottom right, okay? Yes, I do have a couple videos on 21 an inch on making a rose on our YouTube channel, okay, under roses, yes, you would do 21 by 21. But you don't have to make as many petals, and it makes it nice and full. Okay, so this is the easiest flower petal out there, the rose petal. All you're going to do, like I said, turn it into a diamond shape. You're going to take your top corner, you're going to bring it down to your bottom corner. I kind of flip it, this rounded part, to the left, and we're just going to scrunch it up. Okay, that is all there is to the rose petal. Okay, then you're going to take the end of the petal, and you're going to put it in those every other hole that we did on row 2 that we preloaded. Okay, and just do your zip tie up. Let's try that one again. Oh, let's cut some just so I can show you. So you're just going to cut, like I said, I'm cutting mine at 10.5 inches. So you're going to roll out your mesh. Make sure your mesh is right along one of your lines of your cutting mat so that you do get a straight square. And I'm going to cut one at 21. That wasn't very straight. 21 and 10.5. My hands are still not the greatest, so I'm still having problems with them. So if I start shaking my hands and everything, it's only because they're cramping up. I don't know why my chat thing doesn't work here. Okay, so let's do it again. Okay, 10.5 by 10.5. Factory edge, top left, bottom right. My tattoo. Take your top corner, bring it to your bottom corner. You're gonna bring about 2 inches. I always scrunch, like bring the tail thing about 2 inches long here. You're gonna take this and we're gonna put it in till it hits our fingers and do the zip tie up. Now you can see that I have the factory edge on my petal is right here and right here. You want to keep it the same for every petal so that the stripes aren't going to fight each other if you do them backwards. Okay, so looking at this, my factory edge is on my right and the cut edge is on my left. Okay, now you can pre-make your petals like I did. Whee! I got a whole laundry basket. It only took me literally 10 minutes to make these. These are, like I said, these are the easiest petals you can do. All you're going to do is I have my little cutting mat that's on my lap. Turn it to your diamond shape. Bring that top corner down to the bottom corner. Scrunch it about 2 inches. And then you're going to take one of these little rubber bands and just go around. And then you just toss it into your laundry basket. Okay, so you can pre-make them or you can make them and put them right in as we go. Again, just making sure that this red, I have the red facing to the right. If I flip it over, it'll be the blue facing to the right. So I guess it wouldn't matter for this, but it does matter how you fold it. Because we don't want this, like I said, we don't want the stripes fighting with each other. So we're just going to put the 8 outer petals right into the zip tie. The size of the board, this is the large Unique in the Creek board. You can do it with the small. I like to do my roses on the large board because the spacing of each of the rows gives you a little more room to manipulate the petals and stuff. You'll see once we get more into depth of making this rose, it gets pretty full in your board, and it's nice to have that little bit of extra room. So most times I do my my roses on a large board. But it can most definitely be done on the small. Okay, so we have our 8 pieces in, and these are that outer scalloped edge, okay? Now what I want to do is I'm going to cut these zip ties off. I'm going to use my zip tie gun because my hands are sore. And this, if you have sore hands like me, grab yourself a zip tie gun if you're going to make wreaths with zip ties. And pretty much that's all I use is zip ties. So the gun, there's a little slit here. You just kind of slide the zip tie tail, squeeze it, and it's going to pull the zip tie tight and cut it at the same time. Hi, Ange. Okay, so we got our 8 pieces in. So now what we got to do is make them scalloped. We want that scalloped edge for that rose. And the easiest way to do that is grab another 8 zip ties. Okay, and we're going to go right over top and preload right over top of the zip tie we just went in, and just preload right over top, the 8. Yes, zip tie gun. Thanks, Tina. I need to get Laurie's favorite tools up and running again. The squares, I have, this is a 10.5 inch wide mesh, so I cut mine 10.5 by 10.5. Okay. If you're short on mesh, you can cut your mesh 10 by 10.5. And nobody will you really can't tell, but when I'm teaching, I want to teach you guys properly, right? I've done so many roses. I don't know if you guys have seen, I did a rose, I don't know, a few months back, blindfolded. Okay, so it doesn't matter where you start. So what we're going to do with these zip ties is we're going to make that scalloped look. And to do that, you're going to take, let's start with this zip tie. It doesn't really matter where you start, just pick a zip tie. And you're going to grab the neighboring petal corner. So this is to the left, and then I'm going to grab the corner to the right. And you're just going to slide it in, and you don't want it too tight. If you pull it too tight, your scalloped edge is going to look funny. So you just want it that it's, when you put the corner in, they're crisscrossed into that zip tie, and then just pull it tight. And it makes, we're going to make that scalloped kind of look. And I'm just going to keep going all the way around. So we're going to go come over top, left, come over top, here's the right. They're crisscrossed here just a little bit. I think maybe an inch it's in there, and do it up. And that is all we're going to do all the way around. And you see how it's nice and puffy? We want that puffiness for the rose. Best speed it up. I have company coming. They're going to be here anytime now. Woo. You'll hear the dogs going when they're here. And you hear Dave chopping away up there. Hi, Charmaine. Oh, I'm glad you're having a wonderful day. And happy May 24. Happy Victoria Day to you and all your family. I am still working away over here in Niagara Falls. Still doing lives. All right, we're almost done. You're just gonna go around and attach each petal's corner into a zip tie. these flat until you have them all in. So this is the last one. Hi, Tony. Oh gosh, all my friends are out today. Although it is just a Monday for you guys over in the States, right? We have family coming over. So we're having, I think he's making the rice right now, but we're having like fried rice and barbecue and, you know. I'm going to throw in some chicken wings. Just a little bit of everything. All right, we are done with this row here, or this part. See how it's got that nice scallop to it? It's all rounded. This is what we want to see. Okay, this is what we want to see on row 2 to begin with. Yes, you have Memorial Day next weekend. It's so much easier when our holidays coincide with each other. But it's not always the case. All right, so that is the outer row. Okay, now I am going to preload. We are going to put more mesh on row 2, but not till the end. I'm going to preload the rest of the other holes on row 2. So there's another 8, but we won't be using them till the very end. But it's much easier to preload them now while the board, you can still see the board and it's not completely full of mesh. Now I will be editing this for YouTube and uploading it a little bit later. So if you want to want to watch the replay, that's where it will be housed. So I'll speed through all this loading zip ties and stuff. You can't see me zipping them. I do them one-handed. Now, lots of people flip the board over and just put the, put the zip tie in like that, which is really fast. But when I first started the boards, this is how I preloaded the boards. So I kept it like that. Now I can't break that habit. Okay, so we are going to move into the center now. Okay, so if you are an experienced rose maker, you can do this step that we did. You can do it at the end because you'll see me kind of crushing some of it, but I'll do my best not to. So first thing we're going to do is make the rosebud center. So I'm going to take a zip tie and I'm just going to go down the very center 2 holes in the middle and do a zip tie up. Now the easiest way to do a rosebud is to take, I'm going to use 2 pieces of mesh and just put them together. So you want top to the bottom. We're going to make the petal exactly the same. I don't know why I just didn't use one that's already made, but okay. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take the corner and I'm just going to kind of loosely roll it to the other side, like that. Okay, just like that. So I got each corner or at the bottom here so I can hold it. I'm actually going to put, let let me see, it might be easier. I just put another rubber band so I don't have to hold it, because I'm going to put another piece on. Oh, that does work. Perfect. Okay, and I'm going to add another piece. Roughly the same length. Let's see. And it's not as, oh, we don't want it as tight. I'm just going to kind of wrap it around the initial piece, just like that. So it looks like the center of a rose. This is my nemesis. My rose centers look different every time I make one. Okay, and I'm going to put another, I'm going to put a rubber band on it again. That way it'll stay like that. Now we're going to cut this down a little bit. Jane, the kits, we're waiting for the supplies to come in still, because they're mostly fall, Halloween, Christmas kits. I think there is a couple everyday kits that are ready to go, but I'm not sure. Okay, so I'm going to cut this down because it's a bit too long. Let's see, I'll measure it so you can, so this is 7 inches from the top to the bottom. And I'm going to put it right into the center. Now, your rose, the center of your rose is going, you don't want it too high. So let's bend it. You don't want it higher than your mesh because it's going to stick out like a sore thumb. So it looks like mine's still a little bit higher, too high. So I'm going to cut it down even more. So I'm going to put another rubber band on it. Add about, I think he's throwing the pots and pans up around up there. Add about 6 inches. Yeah. So I'm going to cut in between the 2 rubber bands that I put on there. Yeah, so now this is 6 inches, and I'm just going to put the end of it into, move the camera a little, I don't know, I'm going to put it right in the center here, and then we're going to tip it up. Now, there is another way, I'm going to show you because I can't remember, I haven't done a rose in a while. I can't remember if this way works better or the other way. So I'll show you the other way I'm talking about. So we're going to put, again, we'll put a zip tie. And I'm going to roll the center just like I did the other one. There's the corner. You want to make sure that it's down so that when we put it in, it doesn't pop out. Okay, so there's one. So I'm going to put that in. Cut that zip tie, and then I'm going to put another zip tie right over top and leave it open. And then I'm going to take another piece of mesh and see if this works better. Put it in that way. Bring that up. Into the zip tie. do like that better. Put this corner into the zip tie. You'll have to play around with the bud because there's different ways to do it. I think I like this way, and I just kind of wrapped that piece of mesh around and put the corners into the zip tie. And it kind of stands up better too. I think that looks pretty good. What do you guys think? I'm not sure if it's too high though. We'll be able to tell in our next step. Okay, so the center is done. The actual bud. Now we're going to preload row 5, the normal holes. So there's 4 normal holes. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Just the normal ones, not shared ones. Oh, her peace ribbon. Yes, that was fat. I loved that wreath. Loved wreath. So if you guys are wondering what we're talking about, brushes and boards / stencil it up. Angie Skinner, she was a guest designer. My hands are just not functioning. She was a guest designer the other night, or last weekend, and she made the most gorgeous peace wreath I've ever seen. And nice and bright, but she made her own ribbon, which she needs to sell that ribbon. I don't know if you, Ange, do you sell that ribbon? Because there's people that, there's somebody that makes the Canada ribbon too. But I went to go on her website to order some of the Canada ribbon, and she wasn't taking online orders anymore. Anyway, so you can pre-make one, or you can do it, you know, make it right on the board, just like that, okay? So now what we're gonna do, yeah, it is kind of time consuming, that's why I would never do it. Now we're gonna take our petals. Now this is, once you get the outside and the bud done, the rest is very, very easy, okay? All you're gonna do is you're gonna take your mesh, take the tail of it. Now all of the rest of them, the tail goes towards the outside of the board. Okay, so meaning I'm going to take my tail, we're going to go on row 5. The tail goes towards the outside like that, and do the zip tie up, just like that. You're going to take that piece and we're going to just wrap it around the initial bud. Okay, and it's helpful to use if you have some clothespins. It's really helpful to use with your making a rose. And now I'm going to go to the next one on row 5. Again, the tail goes towards the outside. Just do it up, and we're going to wrap. So eventually, once you start, and we're just going to keep wrapping the petals around like this, and eventually it gets so much mesh in there that the mesh contains everything itself. I used to put a rubber band after I did row 5. I used to put a rubber band around to keep the bud, but and you can still do that. But I just find, you know, as long as you're using some clothespins to keep things, you know, in place, you really don't need the rubber band. So we are just going to keep going around. So we did 4 pieces on row 5. So we've used 6 pieces of mesh so far. So where I'm clipping my mesh is where, like, there's pieces that overlap. Once we get on to row 4, or past row 4, then you don't have to clip anymore. Okay, and we have one more on row 5. You see how I'm keep pushing my hands against the mesh on row 2? That's why it's nice if you can build it from the center out. So that's it. That's all there is to making the rose. So it really is not hard. And now we're going to cut those 4 zip ties that we just used on row 5. And then we're going to go onto row 4 and do exactly the same as we just did on row 5. Just put the petals in towards the outside and just keep wrapping. And it doesn't really matter where you start on row 4. But you want to keep going around. You don't want to put one over here and then start over here. Just keep going either clockwise or counterclockwise, whatever you've been doing. Oops. Yep, just regular holes on row 4. But look at the stripe. This is what I was talking about with the thin stripe. You get to see all of the colors. So you get to see all the red, white, and blue. If you use a thicker striped mesh, like the actual stripe, like I explained at the beginning, you may not see one of the colors. It might be, you know, in amongst down there. And our stripes are all going the same way as well. So you get your wooden, even if you don't have any clothespin, get your wooden clothespins, whatever you have, to help clip your petals so you can keep going around. And that's all I'm doing, is just going around, putting the tail in to the zip tie right where the elastic band is, which is 2 inches, and just hugging. Now you can see why I do the outside to the inside, because we're getting full already and we still have row 3 and row 2 to do. Okay, one more, and I'll show you a little trick that you can do to check to make sure that you've got all the zip ties on each row. You can flip your rows over and we're gonna just flick it. And if it's loose like that, you know you missed a spot. So you just kind of go around, make sure each zip tie is got something in it. And then we're going to move to the next row. Okay, you need to cut. Make sure you cut your zip tie tails, else they're going to get stuck in there and make your rows look funny. I'm doing good, Catherine. I hope you're doing well. You're late, Susan. That's okay. This, like I said, I'm only streaming on Facebook right now. I will be editing and putting the replay on YouTube. Just clip these just to get it all out of the way. All right. We are going on to the next row. Okay, row 3. Still see them. Again, just take your mesh, the tail going towards the outside, zip it up. It might be easier if you cut your tails as you're going. And just pin everything back. Clothespins, whatever you have. Now the tails, some of the tails may pop out, and I'll show you at the end how we're going to fix those. This is looking pretty spectacular. Very easy way to do a red, white, and blue rose is just to buy red, white, and blue mesh. You can do like a piece of red, a piece of white, a piece of blue, but I think companies here, it does take a little bit of thinking if you're using like a solid red, a solid white, a solid blue. So I would rather just use a striped one. There's no thinking. There's the dogs. I'm almost done. So we're getting full here. Is that my Ellie Llama? Where my Ellie Llama? Oh, hi, beautiful. Look at the smiles. Oh my God, come here, come here. Come and see all the people. Come here. Hi. Hi, look how cute you are with your happy face. Hi. Say hi, peoples. Say hi, Joe. Hey, Joe. You come over for barbecue? Hey, Joe. Hey, Joe. Hi. Take you for your face. Want this? No. Okay, go see Mommy. I see you in a few minutes. I love you. Hi. All right, now we don't have to really pin anymore. You're not going to really see what I'm doing, but I'm literally just putting the mesh in it like I was all along. Isn't she cute? She just turned 7 months a couple days ago. Okay, well, let's flip. This is turning out beautiful. We gotta stop one more row. Aunt Charmaine, that's my baby granddaughter. Isn't she awesome? Okay, let's go around. Make sure we have. Okay, we're good. So now where we're going is on row 2, those ones that are not scalloped. Okay, so you're gonna take, again, still going towards the outside. You're not gonna, I don't think you're gonna be able to see what I'm doing, but you're gonna put your tail in, and you wanna kind of lift those scalloped ones and have the tail underneath like that. Okay, so it's not over top and it's not gonna press down on these ones. And then pull your zip tie. I'm caught. And just keep going around. You put your tail in, underneath, and do it up. It keeps catching on the mesh. Now, if yours keeps sliding like mine, you can just use a shelf. If you have a shelf liner, you know, those rubber shelf liners. If you put one of those on your tabletop, it'll prevent your rose from sliding all over. Although I kind of like turning it around and everything. It's easier to work with. And then we'll add some cool stars coming out. Now, if you want to do a red, white, and blue rose, Michelle from Monkey's Creation has a really good one on her website with the stars on it and everything. Or not her website, her YouTube channel, Monkey's Creations. So you can check that out as well. She's got all kinds of patriotic flowers. Look how pretty this is. See, the fabric mesh stays rounded the way you want it to. A lot of people are scared to do a rose, but if you follow this step by step, there's nothing to be scared of. Just do it exactly step by step like I am. And see, I knew I forgot a zip tie because it was making the petals look funny. I didn't cut enough. How many do I have left? 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, all right. Anybody late to the party, if you want to make one, the replay will be available later on YouTube. However, if you like this mesh, I wouldn't hesitate on getting it because I didn't have a ton of rolls left. I think I only had like 18 rolls of it left. But I do believe I have 21-inch red, white, and blue. And now you can see why I go from the outs. I teach from the outside to the inside. You would not see any of that, what I'm doing, had I not went from the outside in. So I'll flip it over, and as soon as I'm finished putting these last few in, and you'll see where those tails are, we'll cut those off a little bit so your customer doesn't see them. It's pretty full. Fabric mesh is awesome. Yes, 21-inch. I've made quite a few. I haven't in lately, but there is a few videos on my YouTube channel using 21-inch mesh. 21-inch makes a beautiful rose. And I believe one of the rows, I think it's row 3 that you can skip, or row 4. Row 4 I think you can skip with 21-inch. Okay, one more. And we are done, and I get to go play with my little llama. And have to cook, but that's okay. I put her chair up on my countertop. I have this little chair that you can strap to it. You strap it to a normal chair, like the dining room chair, but I put it up on my countertop so she can watch me cook. All right, look how beautiful that is. Isn't that beautiful? You're afraid of it? What are you afraid of? That's funny. Okay, look how beautiful and full. That's what fabric mesh does. It keeps that roundness and puffiness. Now, you're going to go around and see these tails? Some of them pop up. You just go around and tuck them down. Normally, the mesh will stick to itself, right? And it'll stay down. However, if you have a few pieces that just don't want to stay down, especially like with Deco mesh and stuff, you can use a little bit of hot glue and just put a touch of hot glue on the corner and push it down, and it'll stay down. But you do want to go around and make sure all your corners are kind of going downwards and not popping out the top. Just kind of ruins the look of it. They're pretty much all down. All right, now we're going to flip this over. You're scared of roses? Well, this one turned out fabulous. All right, I'm going to flip this over, and you can see the little tails of those ones on row 2 that we just did. I just go around and just trim them. Now, if you're making this for yourself, you probably won't care if they're sticking out, but if you're making it for a customer, you might not want these sticking out. And now, and then we're going to put some stars. Got to put a hanger. Isn't that gorgeous? It turned out really, really well. We're going to put a hanger. So there's our logo. really doesn't matter where you put the hanger because it's the same all the way around. But I'm going to put a hanger on it. Okay, now you can hang it and you can be done. But it's patriotic. I thought I'd make it a little fun. We're going to put some stars going around the outside in lieu of leaves. Can you hold up the mesh so I can make sure I'm getting the right one? The number is, if you just type in the search on uniqueinthecreek.com, you just type in RY8321D1 and it should come up thin stripe fabric mesh. Okay, let me just clean all this up. We'll put a few little stars on the outside and then I'm going to play with my Ellie Llama before more people come over and steal her on me. Okay, so I'm going to take these little stars and I'm going to rip them off the main stem. So there's 3 per stem. Now I don't know how far they'll stick out. So you're not going to put, I don't want to have stars coming all the way around, like going all the way around. I'm just going to see how far I have to put them in. Actually, I could probably just slide it into the zip tie on row 2. What the heck? Even better. I did. I just slid the end of it what? Please show the back. That is the back. I'm just kind of sliding it into the zip tie. I was going to just, I'll show you what I was going to do. I was just going to take a zip tie, go from one hole, a hole on row 1 to the outside of the board. And this works as well. Get these out. You can slide them right into the zip tie, but cut this down. Just crisscross it. Crisscross applesauce. You don't want to put them too far down. Do that up. Let's see. That looks kind of cute. Definitely patriotic-ish. So we'll do 2 there. I'm going to add a little bit of hot glue to where they're crisscrossed, right across onto the board. That way they won't slide out. And then I'm going to do another right across. So we're going to go right here. mantel adds a little fun. Oh, come on, my hands won't squeeze this. There we go. Another two. Let's put this one over here, that one here. I'll figure it out later. All right. Again, we'll put some glue on there. And then I'm going to just put one more, maybe at the bottom here. I don't know. I have two left, so I might as well. Praise God for zip ties. Right. Okay, that one. Oh my God, somebody has big feet up there. Oh, more people. More people. Okay. Up. Just in time. Actually, you know what? I think I might snip this blue one off. And wrap it up higher here. There, I like that better. I'll have to put a little bit of glue. Oh, it looks cute. Looks like little, like firecrackers. I'm gonna bring the blue ones up higher though. Take them off the bottom there and put them up here, like that one. Definitely patriotic. Anyways. You can do whatever you want, play with it. Just kind of adds a little bit of whimsy if you want. You just have to glue it. But there you go. Yeah, no, it's pretty cute, right? Red, white, and blue Patriotic Rose. Perfect for Memorial Day and your July 4th. Oh, and it's a election year this year too, so you can keep it up all year long. Well, at least until November. All right, everybody, I'm out of here. I will thanks for joining me. I will have the replay done a little bit later onto our YouTube channel later tonight. But whatever you're doing, have yourself a wonderful rest of your day. And again, Canadians, happy May 24 Victoria Day weekend. Bye, everybody.